Hello, I'm Bev Turner, and this is GBN Originals, where we regularly find ourselves tackling the big questions. And one key question that I keep being asked, mostly by women that I respect enormously, is how could I, as a woman, possibly support President Donald Trump? So on a personal level, I need to be able to answer this. So let's work through it together, shall we? Because it struck me that all of the hysterical reactions to Trump's re-election came from women, culminating this week in one politician saying that she has sterilized herself because of him. We'll come on to that in a minute. But partly my ability to contextualize Trump's statements about women is because we have much bigger issues to worry about. Political corruption, taxpayer funds being washed through non-governmental agencies all across the world, the march of the surveillance state, the resetting of the financial system. This stuff really matters. And this is what Trump has in his crosshairs. Who cares if in 2012 he said, Bette Midler talks about my hair, but I'm not allowed to talk about her ugly face or body, so I won't. Is that a double standard? She says, trying not to laugh. Or if Hillary Clinton can't satisfy her husband, he said, what makes her think she can satisfy America? Or 20 years ago, when asked if he would stay with wife Melania if she was disfigured in a car crash, he said deadpan, how do the breasts look? Now, he used to behave like a fat-bellied stand-up in a working men's club in Lancashire. He thought he was funny. And let's be honest, sometimes he was. But Trump 2.0 is more mellow, is less of a blowhard, less of a try-hard. But first, let's remember how Trump derangement syndrome started in 2024. That was a group primal scream performed by women on the shore of Lake Michigan a few days after Trump's election. Now, I admire most people who demonstrate a passion for politics. In a world of apathy, engagement in something bigger than what Meghan Markle has said is not to be knocked. And I can almost get on board with the idea of a group primal scream if, say, I don't know, MPs in the UK offered COVID vaccines to kids in classrooms without parental consent. Oh, hang on, we did do that. And nobody screamed then. But I digress. So what are these women risking the integrity of their pelvic floors and their self-respect for? Well, the firm belief in the stereotype that Donald Trump doesn't respect women. Who has told them that? Well, the vast majority of the mainstream media, that's who, consistently over the last 10 years. When he was running for election in 2016, the now legendary audio clip of Trump talking to an actor on the set of a TV drama emerged, and it did cause lasting damage to Trump's reputation as a chauvinist who uses his power for sex. Remember, that infamous clip stayed hidden for 11 years before somebody decided to give it to the Washington Post and almost derail his presidential campaign. Now, context is everything. And that audio was 20 years ago when Donald Trump was the archetypal man about town who was, by all accounts, extremely popular and roundly well liked in New York. He was a deal maker of The Apprentice. He was a powerful and influential figure on the Manhattan social scene. His hot mic moment occurred when he was chatting to the actor Billy Bush. He was metaphorically waving his willy around, trying to impress people on a soap opera TV set. And also remember that what he said was after spotting an actress who he'd be doing a scene with. He's bragging. So let's remind ourselves what he said after spotting an actress that he'd be doing a scene with. He said, I've got to use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm not going to do a Trump impression. I'm automatically attracted, he said, to beautiful women. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything. Now, that was 2005. That is not a man that I would want my daughters to date. But here's the uncomfortable truth. He is a show-off. And there would have been some women in New York who would have then fancied 59-year-old millionaire Donald Trump and would have been absolutely okay with him getting a bit handsy on a first encounter. As usual with Trump, there is honesty in his words, even if they contain some uncomfortable truths. That video, of course, made the front pages and news bulletins all over the world. Unusually, though, it also prompted a rare apology from Trump. He said, "This was locker room banter, a private conversation that took place many years ago." He then said, "Bill Clinton has said far worse to me on the golf course, not even close." And he said to the Washington Post, "I apologise if anyone was offended." Now, Trump is clearly far from perfect. But guess what? Nobody is perfect. And believe me, politicians especially can be extremely vain and very flawed. You can tell a huge amount about a man by the women that he's surrounded by. And did you see his glorious daughters and granddaughters over the inauguration weekend? Did you see his wife? No man who is surrounded by such confident women who have combined careers with also being wives and mothers, no man flanked by such glorious female energy disrespects women. They simply wouldn't let him. And surely we must always look at what a politician does rather than what they say to work out who they really are. So let's just look at a couple of the strong, formidable females that he's putting in positions of immense power to conclude that Trump does not look at women as less capable or less trustworthy than men. Homeland Security is under the control of Kristi Noem, a woman who didn't finish college because she gave birth to her first child at 23 and went on to study, to grow the family farm, get a Bachelor of Arts degree in political science from South Dakota University, whilst also serving as a US representative. Probably not the kind of woman who would tolerate pussy grabbing. And another top role in government, the Director of National Intelligence, is set to go to another magnificent woman, Tulsi Gabbard. You can see me banging on about what a legend she is in this video here. But let's all agree that a misogynist would not give these jobs to women. Oh, but people say he's going to ban abortion. He wants women lined up like a scene out of The Handmaid's Tale and impregnated against their will. No, he does not. Remember, during the election, Trump sidestepped and obfuscated on what is America's most controversial topic, abortion. He did brag that his Supreme Court nominees helped overturn the Roe versus Wade judgment in 2022, when states were given the right to introduce new abortion restrictions or bans, but that was largely about decentralizing decision-making power to individual states, which Trump said was democratic, and he believed that states would know what was best for their individual residents. He's repeatedly said that he would not sign a national ban on abortion. In October 2024, 1 month before the election, he posted on social media in all capital letters, "Everyone knows I would not support a federal abortion ban under any circumstances and would in fact veto it, because it is up to the states to decide based on the will of their voters." Remember, all of the 200 and odd executive orders that he signed on day one of his presidency, nothing on abortion. Trump recruited Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to his campaign, a long-time supporter of abortion rights. He's literally the cheerleader of your body, your choice. And once his confirmation is complete, he will be the bloke in charge of the Department of Health and Human Services. It does look like Kennedy has been persuaded about tighter restrictions on certain easily available abortion pills, which can be posted to a woman's home. But let's wait to see the rationale behind that. Is it morality or women's safety? And what Trump and VP JD Vance did do was issue a memorandum reinstating what's known as the Mexico City policy. Now that bars funding to international aid organizations that, quote, perform or actively promote abortion. That same action has literally been taken by every newly elected modern Republican president. And that is about the spending of taxpayers' money, not abortion. Trump went further, signing an executive order ending the forced use of federal taxpayer dollars to fund or promote elective abortion in domestic programs, effectively ordering government agencies to halt funding programs that can be construed as promoting abortion. In other words, you can have your abortion, but the government isn't going to pay for it. And I won't pay for anyone who is selling the idea to women. Now, when women are lining up to scream and wail at Trump's so-called misogyny, they need to recognise that the group of people he's pissed off the most since coming to power are the pro-life, anti-abortion lot. At the Washington March for Life event a couple of weeks ago, campaigners described Trump as a horrible president when it comes to abortion. One man in attendance, Mr. Boyd, summed up the evolution of Trump 2.0 and he said he is way less pro-life than he was back in 2016. Mr. Boyd believes that all abortion should be banned, including in cases of rape and incest. In other words, Mr. Boyd really does not like women. But as usual with Trump, anything which can be weaponized by the left to discredit him is seized upon. He pardoned 23 people convicted of conspiring in 2020 to storm a Washington reproductive health clinic and block access to intimidate patients and staff. Members forced their way into the surgery clinic. A nurse sprained her ankle in the tussle. It was clearly unpleasant for everyone involved. And one woman, Lauren Handy, was sentenced to 5 years in prison for leading the blockade. But is her pardon and that of her group because Trump believes abortion clinics should be closed? No. If he did, he'd just close them. You know that by now. Instead, he said they should not have been prosecuted. They were, quote, peaceful, pro-life protesters. In Trump's America, you see, you can protest about something you feel strongly about without being locked up for half a decade. But the global media, of course, are lazy and largely left-leaning. So you will not see the Republican Party being depicted as trying to traverse this most sensitive of tightropes, which is why the case of Lori Pohutsky made the headlines this week. Woman sterilizes herself because she's scared of Trump, read the headlines, as though he was pursuing her around the bedroom like a crazed predator. It didn't matter what the truth was, as the damage was done. You could only conclude that women in America are so scared of Donald Trump owning their bodies and seeing them as sexual objects that they will literally go under the knife to avoid his political clutches. The reality, of course, was very different. Pohutsky chairs the Progressive Women's Caucus in the Michigan House of Representatives and made this attention-seeking announcement at a protest on the lawn of the Michigan Capitol. She declared, and I quote, "Just under 2 weeks ago, I underwent surgery to ensure that I would never have to navigate a pregnancy in Donald Trump's America." She went on, "I refuse to let my body be treated as currency by an administration that only sees value in my ability to procreate. If you know people," she said, "who are questioning how serious this is, I'm going to repeat myself. A sitting government official opted for voluntary sterilization because she was uncertain she'd be able to access contraception in the future." Now, let's pause for a moment and consider the sheer absurdity of this situation. A sitting government official has opted for voluntary sterilization because she claims she was uncertain about future access to contraception. This is despite the fact that Trump has repeatedly stated he's got no intention of banning contraception. What's even more concerning is the rhetoric surrounding this decision. Pohutsky framed her choice as an act of resistance against an administration that she believes only values women for her reproductive capabilities. This kind of exaggeration not only undermines genuine political discourse, but trivializes the real struggles faced by women in countries where reproductive rights are actually under threat. The truth is, as Pohutsky explained to the UK's Daily Telegraph, basking in her newfound fame, she had a procedure which involves 2 small punctures through the abdomen to tie up her fallopian tubes. And she hoped that her announcement would encourage others who were considering sterilization, either because of Donald Trump or otherwise. which is possibly the most misogynistic, dangerous and manipulative thing I've ever heard a woman say. It turns out that at the age of 36, and with a busy work schedule for her and her husband, she had already decided she never wanted a baby, but says, "I feared that I would not have access to contraception in the long term." What a load of nonsense. It's shocking hyperbole to say that she believed the changeover in the White House meant that she may be compelled to give birth against her wishes. What an extraordinarily pathetic admission from a woman of 36 that she's not capable of presenting herself getting pregnant. We've had Selena Gomez crying down the lens about Trump. Ellen DeGeneres moving to the UK to escape him and live in the Cotswolds. Let's see how long she lasts when she discovers there's no Deliveroo in the English countryside. And what we're seeing here is a pattern of extreme, irrational reactions to Trump's presidency. From tying your tubes to celebrity meltdowns and self-imposed exile, it seems that for some women, reason and perspective have taken a backseat to emotion and hysteria. And it's very disappointing. It's crucial that we remember in a democracy, not everyone will agree with every policy or every leader. But the answer isn't to make irreversible personal decisions, flee the country, or make ridiculous comparisons. The answer lies in engaged citizenship, using your voice and resources constructively and working within the system to effect change. Election watchers theorised that a febrile electoral environment with a woman at the top of the Democratic ticket could produce a historic gender gap. But guess what? 2024's gender voting was largely in line with previous election cycles. Kamala Harris did have a slight advantage amongst women, winning 43% to Trump's 46%. But Biden won 55% of the female vote, Trump on that occasion getting 43%, showing that women don't just vote for another woman if they aren't interested in the issues that matter to us the most. We are smarter than that. This has been Bev Turner. Don't forget to subscribe to the GB News YouTube channel. Give me a thumb up. Post me a comment. I'll try and reply. Give us a like. And I'll see you next time.